A dozen of Florida's most vulnerable died because of oppressive heat, a stunning side effect to Hurricane Irma. The storm knocked out electricity to their nursing home in Hollywood.
The state since then put in new rules mandating every assisted living facility have an approved emergency power plan. But NBC2 investigator Rachel Polansky uncovered hundreds of Florida facilities don't.
These power plans were due to the state on June 1st, more than 5 months ago. The facilities must show that they have an additional power source, like a generator, that can keep temperatures at or below 81 degrees for at least 4 days. As of today, only 40% of assisted living facilities in Southwest Florida have implemented their emergency power plans.
When this man dropped his mom off at a Cape Coral assisted living facility, he believed she was in good hands.
The people here are just so nice that we can't get over it.
And maybe they are. But when the NBC2 investigators pulled state records from early October, Cape Villa was one of only 2 assisted living facilities in Lee, Collier, or Charlotte counties that had not submitted an emergency power plan to the state.
So I'm just trying to find out why and, see what's going on there.
I have no idea, so I'm just a caregiver, so I can give you any information.
The other facility was Avalon Manor in Fort Myers.
The state has not received any paperwork from Avalon Manor about its emergency power plan.
This is what the state has told you?
Yes.
Okay. That's not what the state has told me.
Avalon Manor has not provided any documentation regarding...
Yeah,
Yes.
he's filming. Yeah.
A few days after my visit, the state did receive and approve a power plan from Avalon Manor. It still hasn't gotten one from Cape Villa.
Does it worry you that they haven't submitted any paperwork to the state?
Well, I'm sure they should have.
Out of Southwest Florida's 155 senior facilities, 63 have implemented their power plans. 89 have been granted extensions by the state. 2 have been denied extensions, and 1 has not submitted anything. A state spokesperson tells NBC2 that before an extension is granted, the facility must be able to prove that it is able to ensure patient protections should an emergency occur right now.
The overwhelming majority of providers in the state are working very hard to become compliant with a rule that we knew was going to be challenging from the beginning.
Steve Bamer is the president of Leading Age Florida, a nonprofit that looks out for seniors and their quality of care. He says the governor's new mandate was a great idea, in theory. The problem, he says, was actually implementing it.
The original rule gave providers 60 days to implement permanently installed generators on their property. And we're not talking about generators here that you would buy at Home Depot or Lowe's and we might use in our own homes. These are industrial-sized, custom designed and engineered generators, and it just takes time.
And many of the providers who asked for and were granted extension requests agree, like Adam Hines, the VP of Operations at Shell Point in Fort Myers.
I'm actually very happy that it did go into law. It's just that the window of time to implement it was not sufficient.
And we want to be clear here. Facilities like Shell Point are prepared for an emergency. Shell Point already has generators on site, as well as its own hurricane shelter built to withstand a Category 5 storm.
What we had to do with this new plan is add additional fuel storage tanks for those buildings to maintain the 96 hours of backup power in case of power failure.
As for facilities like Cape Villa, well, we still don't know if it's ready for an emergency because it hasn't submitted any paperwork to the state.
Do your paperwork. That's part of business. I'll tell you what, they don't give you a break. They know how to charge you well. They should at least do the paperwork.
Now, the state tells me it has started issuing fines to facilities not in compliance with the law. As for the facilities that were granted extensions, they have until January 1st to implement their power plans. For the NBC2 Investigators Tonight, I'm Rachel Polansky.